All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Sleepy Matty channel. We are back, not for Stack Fox this time, for a DAS League Division 1A match between AvGeek and Blue Scuti. As we start to close out the division, everyone getting their last few matches in. As from what I can tell, Blue Scuti is the farthest behind, needing to play 3 people. And AV just needing to play Bendy after this match against Blue Scuti. Currently the stats in the division, Alex T at the top with a 100% of playoff chance, followed by Bendy, Tommy, and AV. AV currently 1 and 2 in the division, looking to potentially go 2 and 2. Blue Scuti has not won a set, so looking to win a set as well. But we do have both our players, which means we can move on over to the gameplay screen. Because there they are. Blue Scuti on the right, AvGeek on the left. Here is your seed players. Foxtrot Beta, but it's actually Bravo. 44 Alpha Bravo is your seed. Go ahead and pin it. Can we nerf this guy on 29? Better say Bravo for B? Why? What's wrong with saying Beta? Because it's correct? Yeah, but I like being incorrect. No! No one likes the Greeks. Okay, Hana. Listen, like, if A is alpha, why is B not beta? Who decided that one? Just a reminder to Blue Scuti to turn on input display and hertz display, as it is required. Yeah, can someone tell me why A is alpha, but B is Bravo? And not beta? Was it ever beta? Maximum clarity. What's wrong with beta? It used to start Abel Baker. Ah. The music is a tad too quiet. I'll go ahead and turn it up. There we go. Over the radio with interference, it could be misinterpreted as theta. I guess. No worries, Blue Scuti. Or even alpha, it's really bad. And GLHF's being exchanged. As we have 2 readies, so we can get game number 1 underway in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. We are getting bogeys. Based? I don't know what bogeys is, but I'll say based anyway. Watch 1 game before you gotta work. Unfortunate. I wish you a pleasant time at work, though. As through the first 6 lines, it will be Blue Scuti taking a single to go into the lead. As both players' boards start to struggle just a tiny bit due to this drought that is formed, but Blue Scuti will get a Tetris with that bar. AV unable to use either. Why is it 48? What do you mean? 48 degrees outside? I don't know. I can tell you. As AV will have to take some burns up high, we'll reopen the right Tetris down the right-hand side. 61,000 for her. 97 for Scuti, so about a half a Tetris lead when the lines are not tied. When the lines are tied, it is a Tetris and a half in the lead for Blue Scuti. Give me that Texas 84. I know, right? No, I would actually so much prefer the hot weather right now. It's too cold. It is too cold for this body. Hands are freezing 24/7 as Blue Scuti will have to do a bit of cleanup here. We'll get a Tetris and just play off of row 2 instead of taking the burns to clean the board back down. As some unfavorable pieces will cause a bit more burning to have to be taken. Blue Scuti looking for the most efficient way out of this as AV's board starts to climb towards the top. As we appear to be in another drought, and the bar shows up as the well is covered. So AV unable to use that bar. Scuti will on the row 3 Tetris. As AV will take the double, take a Tetris to go to 229 at 61 lines. Blue Scuti doing a bit of burning at 245 at 58 lines. We'll take the triple to get this board back down. Has to put both bars to the right-hand side. Or to the left-hand side, rather, and we'll pull vault the J over, get the bar to the right, and score a Tetris, and was looking to potentially play on row 3, but then decided against it. We'll set up a Tetris and get it down column 4, and we'll decide that now is a perfect opportunity to burn this all the way down and go back to row 1. Perfect Tetris stacking, and we'll get a Tetris down the right for it. 328 for Blue Scuti, 325 for AV, so a 3,000 point lead through the first 80 lines for Scuti. As AV up high once again, the seed seeming to be very droughty at points. As AV taking the burns to keep the board low enough, we'll get a Tetris with that bar. Scuti much lower. Is just waiting. We'll set up a nice delayed double, perfectly opened though well in time. We'll get a Tetris down the right and another to go to 381 at 99 lines. 378 for AV at the same point. So 3,000 points of a lead for AV, or for Scuti rather, as Scuti now has to do a bit of burning. We'll set up a nice double with the square. Would like to deal with this hole ideally before level 19 and will do so very, very efficiently. Is AV waiting up high? 405 for her, 387 for AV. I keep swapping the players, that's great. 408, make that 431 for AV at 116 lines. 389, make it 412 for Scuti at 113 lines. So it is about a 2 Tetris lead for AV, but she is also about a Tetris ahead in lines. So when the lines are all tied, it is more like half a Tetris, or just barely shy of a Tetris, as AV one more Tetris left before the level 19 transition. Nice 5 below from Scuti. AV waiting will get it. 524 for AV into level 19. Scuti one more as well. Looking to get a very similar transition into the 19 speeds. Will find the bar. There it is, 508. So 20,000 points behind into the transition as we are off on the 19 speeds. As AV's board requiring some cleanup, we'll get an L for the L dependency and go back to the right-hand side. Now looking to set up a Tetris, will do so. 603 for AV, 583 for Scuti, as the game decides that now is a time when a bar drought will show up, so both players enter survival mode, but they both get the bar at the same time. 636 for AV, 610 for Scuti, but Scuti also has 6 lines in hand, as an overshift of the T to the left for AV will require some burning to deal with. We'll take 2 burns to deal with that, and we'll have to take a few more to accommodate the stack. Didn't want to go bar flat, now has to set up the Pit of Doom. And now this board is climbing in the wrong direction. We'll get a Tetris, but now has to burn to get back to Tetris readiness. Meanwhile, Scuti has just been playing clean, efficient Tetris, is now into the lead by 20,000 points. 757 for Scuti, 711 for AV, as AV having to do some burning here. This board not Tetris ready for quite some time, as Scuti's board also getting a few holes on it. So Scuti also having to do some digging. It could be an opportunity for AV to start closing this gap, but the pieces not being very friendly, and they'll both get out of their situations at the exact same time, which just leaves that 50,000 point lead for Scuti intact, as he's also behind in the line still. Loss of DAS for AV will require some more burns, as Scuti's center getting up high gets the L to the left with a quick tap. Nice flat burn to reopen the right, now waiting on a bar. The bar will not show. 818 for Scuti, 775 for AV. AV gets a Tetris, finally back to Tetris readiness. Tetris for Scuti, Tetris for AV into level 28 at 845, has 9 lines before level 29. Scuti has 15. But AV now putting the pressure back, as Scuti waiting for this bar, and the bar just not showing up. Has to burn into 28. Will get the Tetris to go to 930. AV trying to platform here, has 1 burn left. Will burn into level 29. There's no bar. 891 will be the top out for AV. And this ending drought will be the deciding factor, as Scuti will get the final Tetris. 971, can't get the bar into column 3. And that will be good for game number 1 for Blue Scuti. Where is the forever invite link? There it is. Copy link, paste. There you go. As we go ahead and increment our seeds, both players are ready for game number 2. So we can count it down in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Have a good time at work, Hana. Thanks for stopping by for game number 1 as we enter game number 2. Very strong game from both players in game number 1, and that's why they are in Division 1. Tetris for AV. Doesn't want to set up the bar dependency, but doesn't really like the board state as it is. So we'll have to take burns here. Scuti will stay perfect. Just kidding. I missed a burn on his board. I think. I don't know. If there's one thing you should know about me, it's the fact that I suck at calculating scores. That is why I have the bar at the bottom to help me. Tetris for AV, Tetris for Blue Scuti. And we are separated by less than a single with the pushdown points from AV. But we are separated by a single if you take out those pushdown points. As Scuti having to take a few burns up high, unable to utilize most of those bars for a Tetris, but will get one there. Reopened the right at a valuable time, and unfortunately the bar is showing for Scuti again when he's unavailable to use it, which will give AV an early half a Tetris lead, as she also has to do some burning of her own. T will work for the burn down the right for AV, opens the right bar down at Tetris for AV. And with those burns taken, it will separate us by a single again. And there's the single, as we're now separated by 76 pushdown points. As welcome on in, Dragonheart. As players back into their rhythms of playing Tetris. Unfortunately, the square not timed too well for AV. We'll have to not utilize that bar, but won't matter too much to the scoring, as about a Tetris lead has emerged on the side of AV. But AV now with a bar dependency on the left and a Pit of Doom in the middle. So is double bar dependent. We'll have to put the square on the left for AV. So this will require some digging. This will give Scuti the opportunity to close this gap, as drop of DAS for AV. And that will complicate the board even further, as this went from manageable to scary, but it's now back at manageable. But it will give Scuti 2 Tetrises of scoring. Thumbs up from AV. Getting out of that dig, as she will cross the 100 line mark at 415. Scuti 2 lines behind at 474. So about a 50,000 point lead for Scuti when the lines are close together. As AV will set up the S/J dependency. We'll look to hold out for the J and we'll show up. But now the board, very jagged, sets up the T-spin, will hit it. As Scuti with an 80,000 point lead, so about 4 Tetrases in the lead off the back of all that digging that happened on the side of AV. But a misdrop for Scuti now. This is very solvable with a nice roof burn there. The most efficient way to solve that stack. And it was spotted. 591 for Scuti, 532 for AV with one more Tetris left before the transition. AV cannot 600k. Scuti already there with one left. She will have to take the triple in at 560, Scuti in at 638, so 70,000 points of a lead for Scuti entering level 19. As immediately Scuti will run into a slowdown, has to take a few burns here, and the pieces not being all too helpful will extend the length of this dig, which does give AV the opportunity to attack. As this board starts to climb for Scuti, needs something to the right, a bar will work, now needs something to the left. The square works as well, so does the L, as AV's board also climbing. But both players dealing with their own situations. Scuti, bar dependent, will just fill it with a J. The bar shows up for a J dependency, overshift of the J for AV. Now she needs something to the left. Gets the S over, but that might be all she can do. And it will be. She'll be done at 629. And Scuti at 667 is good for game number 2. And we'll go up 2-0. An over input. Rip. GG. For game number 2. As we have it ready from AvGeek for game number 3. And we have it ready from Scuti, so let's not waste any time and count it down in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Simul starts 5 below setup for, or 5 below opener for AV, no 5 below for Scuti. As AV will immediately run into a bit of burning required. Is setting up dirty down the center and will get it. And we'll just take the triple now. Move the well back to the right hand side. 49,000 for AV. 49,000 for Scuti. We are separated by a single through the first 13 lines. Which you love to see. A lot of S pieces in a row for both the players. Scuti's board more accommodating for them than AV's. So AV will have to take some burns here. We'll reopen the right and get a bar for the Tetris. 121 for AV, 118 for Scuti. Scuti waits for a bar and we'll put it down the right hand side now, having to take a few burns with no spot for a Z. And we will be separated by a double and a single now. A single is taken on the side of AV, so it is just that double separating the players. As AV will score a Tetris to go to 42 lines at 190. Scuti at 46 lines at 194. So it's about a Tetris lead for AV as it currently stands, but we'll have to take some burns as the bar refusing to show up. It will show up now, though. Tetris for AV again. As Scuti now looking to deal with this board. Has holes in rows 5 and 6. But is burning down to them, but this will give AV the opportunity to open a lead. And she will pounce at that opportunity. As very nice resolve for Scuti. We'll open up the right-hand side. Now just waiting on a bar for the Tetris. 233 for Scuti. 308 for AV as the boards start to climb on both sides. A drought forming. And as I say that, the bar shows up. So a drought no more. As both players will utilize both those bars for a Tetris 357 for AV, 283 for Scuti. So it is now the inverse of last game. It's now an 80,000 point lead for AV. The same exact lead that Scuti had on her last game. As AV will unfortunately have to set up the Pit of Doom, but gets perfect pieces to resolve it. Nice series of spins for Scuti. As AV forced into another Pit of Doom. This one not being so friendly, as they tend to be. 408 for AV at 93 lines, 335 for Scuti at 95 lines, I believe that was. Little Tetris to 381 at 103, so crossing the 100 line mark at 381,000. AV crossing it at 455, so this 70,000 point lead has maintained through the majority of this third game for AV. Scuti not wanting to hold out for a T-piece for a T-spin. We'll just take the burns for it. Tetris for AV as we start to approach the level 19 transition. It's 523 for her, 430 for Scuti. As the players' boards start to climb, so you know what that means. There is a drought, but the drought will be short-lived as the bar will be found on both sides. Tetris for Scuti, one left in the tank. AV also with one left will use the 3 bars in a row to get one. And we'll transition at 597, Scuti in at 524, so the 73,000 point lead maintaining the entire way to transition off the back of the dig from Scuti. As we are now off on the 19 speeds, and immediately the boards start to rise as the players have to take burns to keep their boards manageable as they wait for a bar, and that bar seems to be never showing. We'll use the bar for the left for Scuti. AV will use it for a Tetris, so this lead will increase. As Scuti continuing to have to burn as 2 quick bars back to back, and then none as the boards start to climb. AV in a bit of danger, but the bar will show in time for it to not be of matter. As now it's AV's turn to have to do a bit of board cleanup. And this is when the bars start to show. But very quick cleanup from AV. 721 for AV, 625 for blue Scuti as Scuti sets up the Tetris, gets it, now gets the T-Tuck, and is back to Tetris ready. AV maintaining this board, maintaining this lead, as she will now take some burns down the right as Scuti having to do some burns of his own. Nice flat burn bar, simul Tetris for the players, 784 for AV, 690 for blue Scuti. Tetris simultaneously again for the players, 818 for AV, 721 for Scuti. So this 97,000 point lead is still staying on the side of AV. Scuti's needs. We'll get the bar down the right, and we'll just opt to take the burn here. We'll reopen the hole, and we'll get this board back into Tetris readiness. A nice adjustment for the J, and the bar dependency is filled. Sets up the bar dependency with the bar in the window, and we'll be done with the dig. 328 at 80 lines for Scuti, 403 at 84 for AV. So the burning that Scuti did have to take does give AV a 2 Tetris lead. Just off the back of the fact that AV was not burning. However, AV having to take a few burns, so we'll lose a Tetris in the form of a lead, but still has a Tetris and a half as we start to approach the 100 line mark. A checkpoint, so to say, of the scores as a bar dependency on the left for AV. The bar will show quickly enough. I would love another bar for a Tetris, but has to take these burns, and that's going to let Scuti close this gap. 110 lines for AV, 506 for her. 108 lines for Scuti, 488 for him. As AV will opt to set up a bar dependency and just take the double. Now would love a J for the left-hand side. A bar will work, as we are separated by less than 3,000 points as we approach 11-19 transition. So the closest game so far. Lead going back and forth as you would expect. Maybe taking a single and getting spammed with squares when the board really doesn't have anywhere for them that is too nice. 578 at 127 for AV. 582 at 127 for Scuti. AV will Tetris in at 602. Scuti looking to do the same, but will take the S spin at 584. So that will give AV an advantage into the transition up about a Tetris as we are off on the 19 speeds. 654 for AV, 638 for Scuti, as AV gets the key tucked, but then a bar is in the window, can't use it, has to regain DAS, and we'll get the Tetris down the right hand side. Now up to 713 as Scuti having to do some burning. So this will give AV the opportunity to increase this lead that has accrued on her side, as she will run into a bit of slowdown herself. Scuti waiting for this bar will just opt to keep the board safe and manageable. There it is, Tetris for Scuti, 708, AV at 752. The board not comfortable, will reopen the right and put the board in a much more comfortable position. Now would love an L. The L does show. 785 for AV. Take a Tetris. 814 simul Tetris as well. 768 for Scuti. So it is a 50,000 point lead for AV. As the bar dependency filled for blue Scuti, set up for a Tetris. Both players are. AV up much higher, having to take these safety burns to keep the board manageable. Will take a skim into a Tetris down the right-hand side, 855 for AV. Scuti looking to do the same, but can't utilize the bar. Now has to do a bit of burning. Square to the left, but now this getting slightly complicated. We'll have to take a few more burns than probably would have liked. This will let AV open a 100,000 point lead, 928 on 26 for AV, 848 on 26 for Blue Scuti, so an 80,000 point lead once again in game number 4. As we start to approach the final levels of 19, Scuti's board starting to get high, makes burn options, but now has a bar dependency. The bar doesn't show up in time, and Scuti will top out at 853. And AV will be good for game number 4, and we will go to a decider. As AV looks to get the max here. There's the triple for 993. Now is set up on row 2. Where's the bar? There it is. Max out for AV. Gets the back-to-back. And will tie us up as we go to a game 5 to decide who wins this set. Jeez. As AV will be right back, which is totally okay. I think I will also use this time to use the restroom, so I will be right back as well. As I'm back, hello. And I'm just in time. Look at that, perfect timing. As Scuti playing some DAS 29, looking for the 10 lines. Doesn't quite get it, maybe? There it is, 10 lines, GG. And we have our readies for the final game of this set to decide who will take it in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. As I adjust my seat and it gets picked up by my microphone. So both players will run into their own set of complications on the board. AV setting up a dirty Tetris down the middle, will get it. Does have this hole in row 2, or column 2. Row 2? Column, row. I don't know. That's above my immediate knowledge. I'd have to think about it a bit more. And I've thought about it. And it's row. As AV's board actually getting a bit complicated, as is Scuti's, waiting for this bar. Gets the T for the T-spin, will bring this board back down. As AV also managing the height. Would love a bar down the right, but guess what's not showing up? Sets up perfectly dirty Tetris for both. And AV will just play on row 2, as Scuti is left welling now. Nice skim into the simul Tetris, as AV continues to play on this elevated well. And Scuti continues to play down the left. 132 for AV at 42 lines, 116 for Scuti at 41 lines. So about a 16,000 point lead for AV. As Scuti will decide enough is enough, no more left well, we'll just take the burns to move it back to the right, and it seems like he did at the perfect time, as there weren't any bars to score with. As AV will uncover this hole on row 1, and we'll start playing an offset well. We'll get the Tetris. And we'll set up the perfect well transfer back to the right, and both our players back to conventional well Tetrises. And I believe we are separated by about 2,000 points when the lines are tied. Excuse me. When the lines are tied. About 3,000 points is the difference between the two players. 276 for AV at 74. 257 at 71 for Scuti, as AV with this weird overhang that she has to deal with, and the piece is just not helping. Now has a lot of weight on the hole, and this will let Scuti open up a bit of a lead here, as AV will have to deal with this hole. We'll get a triple to start bringing down this weight on the top. And is slowly getting this down. But this will give Scuti at least 2 Tetrises of a lead, as she will set up the dirty Tetris and will get it. And will opt to just take the burns to move it back to the right-hand side. Actually, set up one more time. We'll set up again and get it. 343 at 100 lines for AV, 382 for Scuti. So AV about 2 lines behind, as A poggers from AV. I don't know why she just did that, but she did. Dropped her controller, but both hands on her head, and did like a YouTube thumbnail face for 0 reason. As Scuti at 110 lines at 430,000 points. AV 113 lines, 393,000 points. So it is this 60-ish thousand point lead for Scuti, as we approach the level 19 transition for one last time. The final level 19 transition that will occur in this set. As AV having to burn away 2 Tetrises. But Scuti as well running into a bit of trouble right before transition. Tetris in at 448 for AV. Scuti will hold out for this bar, sacrifice the stack a tiny bit. Tetris in at 507. Now has to deal with this hole that was created to allocate the Tetris, and will do so with a perfectly timed bar for the bar dependency. We'll take the delayed double down the right-hand side. And the sacrifices that were made for this Tetris into the transition seems to be biting back at Blue Scuti a bit, as he has to take a lot of burns here. So this will give AV the opportunity to close this gap. And she will take that opportunity, as Scuti will finally be out of her... out of his situation. Jesus. And it's now AV who has to do some burning. 586 for Scuti, 551 for AV into level 23 at 580. Scuti 613, so it is about this Tetris lead for Scuti. As when the lines are tied, it is more like a 2 Tetris lead for Scuti, as AV will have to take the safety double there. Scuti setup can't use that bar, but will take a double into the Tetris. 676 for Scuti, 643 for AV. As both players finding their groove in this transition. AV with a bar dependency is holding out for the bar, and the bar is not showing up. So we'll just opt to take the burns now. Realize the game was saying, hey, that the bar isn't showing up, but the L doesn't go left for AV. Will anything else go left? The bar still not showing up. The T will hang, and she'll be done at 683. Scuti at 718 is already good for game number 5 and will win the set 3-2. His first win of the division. GG's to both players. Very well played this entire set. An unfortunate way for game 5 to end, but it's still a valiant effort for both. You know, it was actually the reverse sweep for AV almost, and then the reverse sweep was denied by Scuti. Scuti will look to finish this game out. Little early shift. See what can be done on the kill screen with this board as we will go in. So here we go. Das 29. And we see a level 30. Needs one line. Will get it. Level 30. And that's as far as Scuti will go. Great set for both players, but your winner will be Blue Scuti. For this set, we'll get the first win of the division for him. And we'll move to 1 and 2. As we take a look at the rest of the matches that we have today, and about an hour from now, we have AvGeek coming back again. But this time not for Das League, for Stack Fox for Swiss Round 3 versus Xylos. And then we will be done for today after that match. So we'll go ahead and go offline. Not gonna sit here for an hour. But in the meantime, we'll go raid, I guess, Stolen Short Sword again. Send you back to the TNP show for a second time. So be back here in an hour if you would like to see some Stack Fox gameplay of AvGeek versus Xylos. Otherwise, don't come back. I can't force you to. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, players, for letting me restream. And GG's to the players. I'll go ahead and report this match. Go have fun on the TNP show, and I'll see you in an hour.